is the Political Spotlight.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's more like a political flop.
Nobody listens to Bilbrey.
He's just a wannabe podcaster. No one takes him seriously.
He is a rude, crude dude that will never go any further than broadcasting from his mother's basement.
Bilbrey is a wrecking ball for Indiana politicians.
Grab another box of Twinkies and generic cola, Bilbrey, and get back to your microphone and your audience of nobodies.
The Political Spotlight is a joke. It's
He is like a rude, crude dude that will never go
Bilbrey's a wrecking ball for Indiana politics. Shut that stupid Bilbrey up.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Welcome. It's a good day, beautiful day. It's been a warm day out on the land, hooking together hoses, and had a little headache today when I woke up and didn't do much. Grandpa had a surgery and everything went well. They sewed his arm up and everything went well with his arm. Hello from here in the Midwest to damn it, I forgot what her name was because it went away really quickly. Josephine Pisculi from upstate New York tuning in. We're starting to get viewers from all over the map, and that's always a good thing. Hey, welcome to you all, and give me a second here. I forgot my drink right as we started to go live. I was like, oh no, I forgot my drink. You turned the air conditioner on today. Today was definitely an air conditioner day. Yeah. I cannot believe that you weren't there yesterday. I cannot believe that you weren't there yesterday or the day before. I actually haven't felt too bad down here in the basement, as cold as it is here. I didn't know that I would ever get to a point where I was like, yes, it finally feels comfortable because it's been so cold. I'm about almost a half mile under earth right here where we are. And so it's very cave-like. It's like if Superman finally defeated Batman and moved into the Batcave, that's where I'm at. I like the lights in the background. Yeah, I like that. I like that you guys, I've had a lot of people been talking about the stuff. Things are happening. We're adding some new stuff. I absolutely love this. And I've got a couple people that have been talking about this thing right here. I'm going to point this thing right here. You see up on the shelf here, I'm pointing back here to this map. You see that map? That is a downtown view of Muncie, and it's very, very cool. It's got Muncie streets and the buildings. If you look at it, it's got the old Masonic building on there. It's got the former Delaware County Jail, which is now Delaware County condos, Washington Street condos or something. It's got Muncie City Hall. Matter of fact, all of the buildings are white except one building, and you can kind of see it. It's white, green, and blue are the colors, but there's one building right here that looks like dark or black. It's actually bright blue, and it's the downtown Muncie City Hall, which has the blue roof, and I actually colored it in with a blue paint pen, and it looks really cool up close because you can definitely tell what it is. So that's really cool. I got that, and that's really neat. I would like to continue getting them and put the entirety of Muncie together, like in a panoramic view where there's just like a little bit between it broken. It's really cool. We'll see what goes on. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, behind me right here is a lava lamp. It is a lava lamp, and the lava is heating up. The lava is like a light blue teal type of color. It fits in with the blue background. So that's cool. You can also see over here on my shelf is the green light lantern, the lantern thing. There's that. And you can see up here we've got my Fission Firearms Ex Ermo 2011. It's like butter. Over here is the Scorpion. We've got a CZ Scorpion 9mm. It's beautiful. This one down over here, it does some amazing work. I gotta say, it's always interesting. I try to always match my my mood to the topics. So when I'm fired up, I like to be mad. When I'm talking about something bad, I like to be like, or like to be sad. Sometimes I'm in a bad mood when we do these, and I have to like fake like happiness or niceness. It really sucks because I'm in a really good mood, and we're going to be talking about some not pleasant topics tonight. Pretty much the entire show. I'm going to start off by saying I've got a lot of stuff to talk about right now. Like I could do 4 hours a night. We could start at 8 o'clock and we could go from 8 to midnight every night. It seems like since election time, it's been like that. So I have some stuff I have to cover from Madison County. We're not going to do it tonight. They had a meeting today, which just absolutely gives me faith in the humans. It lets me know that people are listening and people are coming around and people are paying attention to what's happening. Absolutely gives me a lot of faith that people are listening. Really just quickly, I want to show you here. This was a standing room only, but that wasn't it. That was not it. It spilled out into the hallway. There were people in the hallway and they stood there for the entire time, but that's not it. They also were lined out the door. And that's amazing. It's a beautiful thing to see at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. And they showed up and showed out, and that's how you do it. So we have to talk about this happening. We're not going to be talking about that tonight. We will probably talk about that tomorrow or coming up in the next couple of days. We'll probably cover that. So I have that. Also tonight, just wrapping up. Matter of fact, we're just 12 minutes into the end of the always fun, always amazing, Delaware County Republican Party picnic. Isn't that amazing? Isn't it cool to have a picnic on a Tuesday evening at 6 p.m.? Doesn't that sound amazing? No, not really. Yeah, it didn't sound too amazing to me either. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about some other Delaware County Republican Party stuff. We've got some stuff to talk about as far as the city of Muncie. Still waiting on records. Absolutely ridiculous. But that's not what we're going to be talking about tonight. What we're going to be talking about tonight is an absolute horror. Just a complete horror story. It's horrible. I will tell you that we are going to put up the viewer discretion is advised. We don't shy away from hard topics here, for bad topics, sad topics. We talk about it all. And, we try to do it from... I'm not somebody that is caught up about giving all sides of a story. I try to give the factual side of the story. I try to give as much factual detail as I can, mixed in with our opinion, my opinion, Kate's opinion, Brandon's opinion. We all talk throughout the day, and we talk about things, and then that's what we give you here. And sometimes we're right. Every so frequently, we might be wrong. We admit when we're wrong. And that's that. But we are going to be talking about a very intense topic, and I want to make sure that people are aware. We're not going to be showing anything tonight that's going to be specifically hard to look at, or we're not going to be showing any pictures or videos or anything. And really, tonight is a part 1 episode. There will be a second part to this episode. It's not going to be tomorrow, and I will explain to you why here in a minute. And it might not be the next day, and it might not be next week. It might be 30 days from now. It might be 60 days from now. It could be 90 days from now. It shouldn't be longer than 90, and I'll explain why here in a minute. But it will be another part to this episode at some point. And that video might be a little hard because of images and things, and we will always govern ourselves accordingly and do the right thing. And I'm never going to do something that is improper for clicks or views. So we're always going to be, walk that line, do the right thing. But it's important to talk about this stuff for a lot of reasons, because I know there are a lot of people that are hurt. There are a lot of people that are left with questions, and a lot of people that are mad, maybe rightfully so, maybe wrongfully so. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to have debate. It's okay to be at the end of a topic and say, I don't like what happened. And it's okay to voice that. I think we have to be very careful about putting out misinformation or wrong information just simply because we're hurt, or because something doesn't go the way that I want it to go. And I will always remember Rob Kendall from 93.1 WIBC. He's not there anymore. He does his own show on YouTube now. Check him out if you haven't checked it out, The Rob Kendall Show. Rob Kendall talked about, it was the horrible, horrible murder, shooting death of I think it was a Beech Grove police officer. It might have been a Beech Grove police officer. And the people from the area were hurt. Obviously, the family of the officer was hurt. People wanted justice. They got the guy, and the prosecutor from the area was talking about the death penalty and ended up not going the death penalty route. And people were ready to come unglued. They were attacking the prosecutor. They were saying all kinds of things, and they were going to unelect the prosecutor. And the next time he was up for a re-election, they were going to throw him out of office, and they wanted Rob to go after him. And Rob was all geared up, and Rob was ready to pounce on the prosecutor. And something happened that Rob didn't ever think would happen. The family of the police officer reached out to Rob and said, listen, you've been talking about this, and we see what way this is going, but we felt like we had to reach out. The prosecutor did not seek the death penalty because we asked the prosecutor to not seek the death penalty. And the family told Rob all these reasons, and at the end, Rob was understanding of why what had happened. And he went on the air, and everybody shit all over him because Rob switched the other way, and Rob said he thought what the prosecutor did was right, and he took a bunch of heat for it. And Rob's like, look, you guys don't understand. Sometimes there are reasons why something happens. We might hear of something, and we think X, Y, and Z happened. We want 1, 2, and 3 to happen, and we expect red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, green to happen. And when XYZ doesn't happen, when 1, 2, 3 doesn't happen, and when we get brown, black, and gray instead of yellow, blue, and green or whatever, we are ready to run people out of town. We're ready to grab up the fire and the pitchforks. And that's the case. And I will tell you, yes, you're not going to tell us Randy Howard is going to run for mayor. No, I'm not going to tell you that. That would be horrible. That would be worse than this. But no, I'm not going to joke about this. No, I've not heard anything from Randy. And I've not even been served by Randy. Amazing. But as we go into tonight's topic, I'm going to be approaching tonight's topic from the only way that I know how to approach it. I'm a man. I've tried to live life the best that I could. I am a man that is a believer in Christ. I'm a believer. I don't always make the best decisions. I don't always do the best things. I try to live my life the best that I can and doing right. And, for my failures and my shortcomings, I pray about those. And I pray about what I believe are others' failures and shortcomings. I realize that it's not place to judge people's personal failures. I try not to do that. But I have learned very early on in life, because of positions that I've been in, that a lot of times there are questions. And as humans, we have a human nature. When something happens, when a tragedy occurs, whatever the tragedy is, for whatever reason, whether it's an act of nature, an act of God, tornado, earthquake, something like that, lightning strike causes a fire, and something happens there. We want to ask, why did this happen? We want to know why something happened. Why did this happen? What are the causes of X, Y, and Z? Who is at fault? And who is to blame? And if there's a person to blame, or an action that a person committed, or an action that someone did that caused something, then we want to know who to blame the soonest we can point the fingers, and we want to blame these people, and we want to punish these people. And sometimes in life, there are questions that we do not get answers to. We just won't ever have answers for them until we're on the other side, and maybe those questions are answered then. I don't know. I don't know. But there are some questions we are not meant to know the answers to. And what's hard in life is learning that and understanding that, and being at peace with the fact that I don't have any answers for this. And so that's a really tough thing to have. And it's a really tough thing to wrestle with. And so Randy right here, Randy James said, do you think the sheriff's office will release a statement? I don't know if the sheriff's office will release a statement as the sheriff's department. I don't know if Tony Skinner as the sheriff will release a statement as the sheriff. I don't know if he will release a statement as a human, as a man. I will tell you that I do have a statement. I do have a statement from the current chief deputy, which I will be releasing here in just a moment. I do have a statement from him, and I will be releasing this. And matter of fact, I'm glad that you asked me when you ask, because I did not get that up, and I have not put that up in the overlays. So I'm glad that you asked that right when you did, so I can get that ready, and we don't have to stumble around when I get ready to put that up. I'm so happy that you asked that right there when you did. So I will be putting that statement up, and we will be talking about that in just a few moments. And from my knowledge, this statement is solely from the current chief deputy of the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, Jeff Stanley. The statement that he is given, from my understanding, there was a post that was made that addressed the current Republican candidate for sheriff, and so he attempted to make a statement. We'll talk about all of that here in a minute, but that's how, in my opinion, he tried to answer this as. So that's what that is. So we will go through that, and I'll explain that in a minute. So for those of you, most people know what I'm talking about here, and you're like, get to it already. Well, this is how we do things here. Bear with me. We'll get there. So for the people that are here that are not familiar with what I'm talking about, we are talking about a situation that occurred in 2025, in August of 2025. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, so we're going to talk about some heavy situations. I am going to play a 911 tape, which is, there's not a lot of screaming. There's not a bunch of chaos. Matter of fact, that's one thing that people have issue with, is the 911 call is very monotone and just nothing across the board. And I will talk about that too. And I have thoughts and feelings about that. I will let you know before we play it. So if for some reason you don't want to hear it, I will let you know. I will tell you there is nothing crazy that goes on in the tape. A lot of you've already heard it. I will tell you, there have been a couple people that have asked, and I asked him earlier to not say that it came from me, because I didn't know what I was going to do at the time. I know that Darius Nefarious put this out, the guy that does the Darker Side of Muncie. I sent it to him earlier. And he asked, I asked him earlier to keep me out of it until we did the show, because I wanted to do it in my way. But a lot of people have heard it. He's put it out, and people might say, well, why is something like this out? I think these things are important. And I will tell you, I have issued a record request for all of the paperwork involved. So the case is currently, as we speak now, it's over. There's no criminal investigation. The investigation is over criminally. The special prosecutors in the case have made a statement released that there's no criminal charges going forward. That's what a lot of people are hot about. We're going to be talking about all of this, my thoughts on that, where I think and what's happening. And because of that, and because of the prosecutor's decision, there is now no longer any reason to hold the reports back and to not release that. I have put in a record request for all of those documentation from the Indiana State Police, and I fully believe that we will be receiving those, and we'll talk about that here in just a moment. So the case that we are talking about occurred on Thursday, August 14th, 2025. It was a very hot day. Real quick, just going back to the 911 call. The 911 call is 2 minutes and 12 seconds. Before we play it, I will tell everybody, and if you want to step away, you can step away for 2 minutes and 12 seconds, and I'll wave when it's done, so you can know if you want to turn the volume down or whatever. I will let you know before we play it. So the situation that occurred, and this made the news, all of that. Everybody was aware of this at the time. If you weren't aware of this, I don't know how you could not have been aware. This is the situation as it was told by Channel 13. 10-year-old daughter of Delaware County Sheriff's deputy found dead in car. State police confirmed a 10-year-old girl was found dead inside a vehicle Thursday in Selma, about 4 miles east of Muncie. Selma, Indiana. Indiana State Police is investigating the death of a 10-year-old daughter of Delaware County Sheriff's deputy. The girl was found around 4:45 p.m. Thursday, August 14th, in the 10,000 block of East Jackson Street in Selma, Indiana, which is approximately 7 miles east of Muncie. The Delaware County Sheriff's Department confirmed they were conducting a death investigation, which was later turned over to the Indiana State Police. Delaware County Coroner Gavin Green confirmed to 13 News the girl who was found dead was the daughter I've heard a lot of people that have been saying or trying to claim or make claims that this was a stepdaughter. It was not. And I am going to answer that question, Ashley Dunn. I will give you the answer to that in just a second. But I've heard people say that this was a stepdaughter. It was not. It was his biological daughter. Okay. Biological daughter of the officer, of the deputy. Okay. It was his biological daughter. Delaware County Coroner Gavin Green confirmed Channel 13 News girl was found dead in the car and was the daughter of Delaware County Sheriff's Deputy. Early Friday morning, August 15th, an ISP spokesperson confirmed with the 10-year-old who has a documented lifelong medical condition was found dead. An autopsy will determine the official cause and manner of the child's death, but state police say it does not appear to be suspicious at this time. Okay. We will go on down here. In addition, state police and the sheriff's department, officers from Selma, Albany, and Gaston police departments responded to the scene, along with first responders with the Delaware County EMS and the Liberty Township Fire Department. And that's pretty much everything that we've had. Now, at the time, there were a lot of questions. I was actually live when this happened. I remember when this happened. I was live. Somebody texted me while I was live and said, hey, there's something going on in Selma. There's something that you probably need to know about. I'm like, well, I'm a political commentator. I don't need to know about this shit. I don't want to hear this. I get it. So I followed it while we were live. I actually heard while we were live that it was a Delaware County Sheriff's deputy and that his daughter was left in a vehicle. And the time I was like, how's that possible? Because everyone immediately says, oh my God, it was a toddler. It was a baby they left in the car. And I heard instantly that it was like I heard anywhere from 10 to 14-year-old. Now I know it's like 10 years old, whatever. But in my mind, I'm like, what is going on that the 10-year-old girl can't get out of the car? Like, that doesn't make sense. I didn't think in my mind immediately like, oh, special needs or something like that. Then in like the next day, I think that's when it started coming out, started being reported. And people were saying that the daughter was special needs. And it's like, oh my God, this is like such a tragedy. This is a horrible deal. So the deputy was put on paid leave and was on paid leave, obviously, while this was going on. And instantly, a lot of rumors started flooding. Ashley, I see what you're saying there. There was a lot of those rumors and things going around. And we will address some of that here in a minute. Now, I'm going to be very careful. I am going to address some of the rumors that people have stated, and I'm going to make sure that we address them as rumors when that happens. I am going to tell you what my knowledge and what I have heard from sources is, and then I am going to also tell you when I don't know something, and when we have to wait, we just have to wait. It sucks. Look, doing what I do for a living, I would love to be able to wave my hand and know all of the answers right now. And sometimes you just don't know. I was listening to Ryan Mears, the prosecutor in Indianapolis, talking about that horrible situation down there from a couple weeks ago where the 20-some-year-old man was shot and killed by the 14-year-old guy. And they're talking about waiving that kid to adult court. And Ryan Mears said, they were asking, how long will that take? And he said it could take up to a year. It could take up to a year. Okay. And when I found out that was what they said, I'm like, damn, that's crazy that it might take up to a year before they know if they're going to waive that kid. That's shit that people just don't want to hear. They don't understand why there can't, justice delayed is justice denied type of thing, And sometimes, man, everybody's all for it until you're the parent of the 14-year-old. Well, you're like, well, if I'm the parent of the 14-year-old, that wouldn't be in that situation. There, but for the grace of God go I. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Everybody, no one thinks they're going to be in a situation where they hope everybody's crossing the T's and dotting the I's, unless and until you are. And then you're like, God, I hope people are dotting the I's and crossing the T's. That kind of thing. Okay. So the situation is the deputy picked the child up. The deputy and the child's mother are divorced. Okay. So it's a situation where I don't know anything about the mother of the child. I know that the deputy's remarried, has a new wife. They have a baby. So the deputy has a 10-year-old daughter, has a little baby, a toddler, and a new wife. Goes inside and is trying to apparently get the baby down. And then at the time, now keep in mind, I'm talking about what we knew in August of 2025. Something happens because then he later finds the daughter, the 10-year-old, deceased in the truck, and he calls 911. Now, I'm telling you right now, just so we can get this out of the way, I'm going to play the 911 tape. Okay? I'm going to play it. It's 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And I'm going to play it. When I'm done playing it, I will put both of my hands up. So if you want to turn your volume down and you do not want to hear this, you can turn your volume down, and I will put both of my hands up when you are to turn your volume up. Okay? So I'm just letting everybody know we are doing that now. I'm going to play this, and that way you guys can hear what he said and hear what's going on, and we'll talk about all of this. Okay? Let me pull this up here. And I'm not, don't turn your volume down yet. Turn your volume. So what I'm going to do is, when you turn your volume down, I'm going to give you the thumbs up to turn your volume down. That's what I'll do. So wait just 1 second, and I will do this. We'll turn the volume down. We'll play it, and then you turn your volume up when I put both of my hands up. Okay? I want to just get this ready here. All right, here we go. We're getting ready to play this. So if you want to not hear this, go ahead and turn your volume down now, and we're going to play it. And then you can turn your volume up when I put my hands back up. All right? We're going now.
Lower County 911, where's your emergency?
10701 East Jackson Street, Selma, Indiana.
10701?
Yes.
What's going on there?
My daughter's dead.
Is he breathing?
She was left in the... No, she's hard and was already my daughter.
You said it's your dad?
My daughter. She's 11 years old. 11, sorry.
And was she ill?
No, I left her in the truck.
You locked her in the truck?
Yes.
On purpose?
No, I did not. I brought her home. I forgot about her. I fell asleep.
Okay, do you want to try and get her out and do some CPR?
She's hard. She's rigged already. I messed up.
Okay, and so you accidentally left her in the truck?
Yes. My name is Nathan Coffey. You got it, man.
50 deep. That's going to live on that also. What did you say your name was?
Nathan Coffee.
Okay, what's your date of birth, Nathan?
3/15/1994.
Give me just a second. I'm going to keep you on the line here. All right, what's a good telephone number for you, Nathan?
765-520-6679.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Is she still in the vehicle?
Yeah, I haven't moved her.
All right, turn it back up. Turn it back up. I've had the 911 tape. Someone sent me the 911 tape quite some time ago. I received the 911 tape it's been several weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And we didn't release the 911 tape. I sent it to Kate and to Brandon. My mother used to work in the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. Both my mother worked there. I worked there. I let my mother hear it. I let a couple people close to me in law enforcement hear it. And, you know, the 911 tape, a lot of other people had heard. I'm not the only person that had this. I knew others in the community that had heard this. And I've heard a lot of people use the 911 tape. Put everything out of your mind. I'm just talking about the 911 tape and his emotions, his reactions on the 911 tape. We are all used to hearing 911 tapes of tragic situations, of home burglaries, of carjackings, of armed robberies, of situations where someone, you all the true crime people out there that listens to the true crime, and you hear the wife call and be like, "Oh my God, he's dead! Oh my God, this is crazy! This is nuts!" Or like you know, the man's calling, "My wife is dead! Oh my God!" You know, you're hearing people calling in a moment of tragedy when they've just seen something horrible or they've walked in on somebody. And I will tell you, I have been at scenes where people have died or been died, car wrecks, things like that. And I've been at the scene either when I was a police officer or at various other points in my life. And there have been people on the phone with 911 yelling and screaming while I've been walking around and doing and running and doing things that you do in law enforcement, and thinking and trying to get the person to calm down. Like, "I'm here now. You can get off the phone with 911 or this or that." And the people's totally freaking out. I totally get people freaking out. And a lot of times 911 callers are having to say, "Hey, slow down. Give me your name. Give me your address. What is going on? How many people are there? Who's hurt? Are they breathing? Do you want to do CPR?" And it's hard to get these people who are freaked out and in a level of like total chaos to calm down and do what they need to do. They're in shock. Okay. Shock does a couple of different things. Shock can make you go crazy, and shock can like almost make you go catatonic. As people in law enforcement, you are trained to act under pressure. 10 years ago, 10 years this very month, I walked into a house where I found my father deceased, and I called emergency medical services. I didn't call 911. I had the presence of mind to know that 911 could not help me. I didn't tie up 911. I picked up my phone. I dialed 747-7878. And if somebody would listen to that radio call, I'm talking just like I'm talking now. You wouldn't hear panic. I wasn't crying. I wasn't upset. I did all of that after I got off the phone. I wanted to get the people to my house, and I needed to take care of stuff. So what I needed to do in my brain, I wasn't Kristopher Bilbrey's son at that point. I went into my years of training and experience, and I took care of what I needed to. I can remember former sheriff Scroggins. I can remember Sheriff Scroggins talking about, while he was on duty, getting a call for an adult male down who had went into cardiac arrest, and that he got on scene and he went through the steps and he did his things and he did what he needed to do, and he helped do CPR until paramedics got there. And it wasn't until 5 or 10 minutes later that he realized it was his father that he was working on. Because in the moment, he did what he needed to do that he would have done for anyone else. And that's what he's trained to do. That's what he trained to do. Now, I'm going to tell you as we go forward, and I'm not going to hide this guy's name. The paper and everywhere has hid the name. Everybody knows who it is. It's been everywhere. I'm just going to tell it like it is because I think that is valuable. I understand big media companies not doing it in this. It's Nathan Nathaniel Coffey, Deputy Coffey. I do not know him. I don't know him. I would not know him if he walked up to me. I have never had interactions with him to my knowledge. I don't have some kind of thin blue line brotherhood with him. Troy Story, it's not a matter of being trained to find your daughter dead. It's being trained to be calm in chaos. It's being trained to be calm under pressure. I'm going to tell you, if anybody is ever in a shit hits the fan situation, you want to be in that situation with me. You want to be in that situation with someone who's been in the military for 25 years. You want to be in that situation with a police officer who's been involved in crazy shit for 10 years, for 5 years. Someone who is trained and can do well under pressure. And sometimes there's regular people that can just be like that. It's not just a law enforcement thing. Some people are just good under pressure. But I'm just giving reason for all I'm talking about. Because I don't know this guy. I don't know if he fell apart later. I don't know if he's someone that's just, I'm not trying to say heartless, but he's just cold and that's how he approaches life. I don't know. I don't know anything about this man. I'm just telling you, people are wanting to judge this man on 2 minutes of phone call. And I just want to tell people, now we're going to talk about other things, and I'm not giving this man an out. So don't think that. I'm just talking, I'm going to go along through this thing methodically. And that's what I'm talking about here. That's what I'm talking about in this situation, is going through this methodically. So the phone call, if you want to give him shit for being emotionless and saying, well, I wouldn't do that if it was my child, that's fine. People can say, I wouldn't do that if it was my child. What you cannot say is no one would do that if it was their child. You can't say that. Because I have not had children, of my own biological children. but I have loved and cared for stepchildren as if they were my own, and I would have given my life or my arm or my head or whatever for them, and I cared for them, still care for them dearly, and I would react. You can't fall apart under pressure. That doesn't help anybody. It does not help anybody. So that's the 911 call. That's my take of the 911 call. Now, Ashley has said up here, and I want to come back and I want to answer this. Ashley has said, I'm looking for it. Well, I can't find it, but Ashley said something along the lines of, I heard, right here. I also read somewhere that he delayed giving blood for alcohol and drug testing. Can that be confirmed? I have heard this rumor, and I'm going to put this out there. I'm not saying that is fact. I have no factual evidence of that, period. As of right now, that is solely a rumor. I have heard people say, well, he was drinking, he was on drugs, or I don't know if any of that's true, and I don't know how anyone can say that. If there is rumor of that, I'm working on digging that up. I'm working on talking to people who are sources, people who are in that. And if I find that, I will bring that forward. Okay. As of right now, I have nothing from the sources that I've talked to. I have nothing to verify that with, and I don't know that. And matter of fact, I will take it a step further, saying, unless and until I find this in a police report or a source brings me the information, I have heard that that is not the case. But I'm willing to be open. And the other thing that I need you guys to understand is I have filed, as I stated, for a record release. And I have filed this through the Indiana State Police. And the reason I didn't file it last year or a week ago or 6 months ago is because they would not have given me anything that long ago. They wouldn't have done anything. They just simply would not have given me anything. So give me 1 second here, and I will show you what I have requested. James Williams, what you're saying is true, but during a trial, how many times has a prosecutor brought up a person's reaction to a tragedy? You think they'd bring it up on this cop? Well, so that is very true. Again, that's something that if this person was on trial, they might attempt to do. I'm reading other questions that come in. The first thing I'll say is, as of what we're hearing now, that will never happen because there have been no charges. There will not be filed, so we won't have that. I would think that in that case, the defense attorney would speak and say, well, he's been trained and yada, da, 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 and whatever. I mean, I guess it just depends upon what happens in each specific situation. And in this situation, it won't happen because he's not been charged. Troy Story, I will get to that. So don't go anywhere. To my knowledge, as of right now, I do not believe the wife was there. Like I said, I want to show you this one. If there's any good questions or anything, star them or anything of value. I'm going to be off screen for 1 second because I want to pull this up here and show you guys this. So I did request this, and I'm just putting this all out there so we can be upfront with you on everything so you guys can be aware of this, okay? I did request this. I am requesting all reports and documentation and body camera recordings, as well as all interview interrogation videos related to the investigation into the death of a child left in a truck on August 14th, 2025. The initial call for police and medical assistance was made on August 14th, 2025 between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. by off-duty Delaware County Sheriff's Deputy Nathan Coffey from his home in Selma, Indiana. The call was for a deceased child that he had left in his truck. Indiana State Police ran the investigation. Delaware County Prosecutor's Office requested a special prosecutor review the case. The special prosecutor decided that no charges would be filed, and that decision was released today, June 9th, 2026. The investigation is now complete. No criminal charges will be filed. Therefore, I am now requesting all police reports and related documentation for the case. I'm requesting this as a member of media. And what this says down here, the Indiana State Police has received your public record request. We do not provide status updates, as we will fulfill your request within a 90-day processing window. Thank you so much for your patience and understanding. I will tell you that the Indiana State Police has always been relatively decent in handling the record requests. Now, so I will let you know as soon as that happens. Give me a second here and let me see. The deputy called 911 at 6:44 p.m. is what time the 911 call went through. 6:44 p.m. is what time. I think the initial report that we read on WTHR, I think that time was a little off. Everything that I have ever heard on this was the fact that the deputy picked her up about 2:30. He went home and he was in the house, and that he went to sleep and fell asleep for about 4 hours. So that would coincide with after 6 p.m. or after. And the right here, this says that the 911 call was placed at 6:44 p.m. Now, I will get all of that from the report and all of that, and we'll have all of that documentation. We'll have all of that documentation to provide. Now, I do want to, because we looked at the one news report from when it first happened, I do want to look at the report from today that's triggered all of this, that has everybody looking at everything and wondering about, why this is happening, why we're not getting more, what happened. And then we're going to get into like my thoughts about what's happening here. Okay. I can't understand how he wouldn't know his 10-year-old very disabled child wasn't in the house. She would needed a lot of attention for physical needs from the news description. And I have some thoughts about that. Stand by 1 second. I will tell you what my thoughts are about that. Okay, I want to get all of this stuff out of the way, and then we're going to get into like what people are wanting to hear. Whether I think people are wanting me to shit all over these people, and I'm going to tell you, people are going to be unhappy at the end of this of all kinds of ways. Hopefully, what I'll do is I'll have everybody pissed off, and then I'll know I've done my job. So give me 1 second here, and we'll put this up, and you guys will be able to see what's going on here today then. Okay, so we'll remove this, we'll put this up, and we'll do it like this. Okay, so why is that not loading? Okay, here we go. Special prosecutor declines criminal charges in hot car death of deputy's daughter. A girl died of vehicular hypothermia or heat stroke. Hyperthermia. Hypothermia is cold. Hyperthermia is hot. Okay, this is from RTV6, Kara Kinney. Love Kara's work, does a lot of great work. Delaware County, Indiana. Special prosecutors have declined to file criminal charges against a Delaware County Sheriff's deputy who left his 10-year-old daughter with special needs inside his truck on a summer day. RTV Investigates is not naming the deputy because he was not criminally charged and he was off duty at the time of the incident, which happened on August 14th, 2025. The girl died of vehicular hyperthermia or heat stroke. On August 14th, 2025, the outside temperature was 85 degrees, and the temperature inside the vehicle would have been 132 degrees after several hours, records show. According to a report to the court, the deputy called 911. What happened here? Give me a second. Okay. According to the report, the deputy called 911 at 6:44 p.m. to report he had accidentally left his daughter in his truck. She has rigor already. I messed up, the deputy told 911 operator. The girl, 10, suffered from a syndrome which limited her ability to speak, walk, and move. I want everybody to keep that in your mind. She had something which limited her ability to speak, walk, or move. Keep that in your mind. The deputy picked the 10-year-old girl up from school at 2:30 p.m., and once inside the house, his 2-year-old daughter was throwing a fit. The deputy then became preoccupied with quieting the toddler, according to the report to the court. He then laid down with the toddler to take a nap and then woke up around 6 p.m. The deputy went out to his truck to get his bow, like bow and arrow, so that he could practice shoot, and that's when he found his 10-year-old girl unresponsive inside the truck, records show. When Delaware County Sheriff's deputies arrived on scene, the deputy said, "I messed up," and he put his hands behind his back, according to the report to the court. Delaware County Prosecutor Eric Hoffman recused himself from the case, and a court appointed 2 out-of-county special prosecutors to review the case. The special prosecutors, Chris Gall and James Luttrell, declined to prosecute the deputy and outlined the following determinations. The deputy was not on duty at the time of the incident. There is no evidence he left his daughter in the vehicle on purpose. Where did it go? Give me a second. There we go. He left his daughter in the vehicle on purpose. The deputy did not make any excuses for his lack of memory. Numerous events may have contributed to the deputy's mental state, including a recent death in the family. The credible and admissible evidence is not sufficient to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that a criminal offense has occurred, read the report. The deputy was placed on paid administrative leave on or about August 14th, 2025, and returned to work on or about January 15th, 2026. Keep that in your mind. RTV Investigates contacted the Delaware County Sheriff's Office to see if the deputy had any comment or statement on the special prosecutor's findings, but a spokesperson said he did not have a public statement. On average, 38 children die in hot cars every year in the United States. 17 children have died in hot cars in Indiana since 1990, records show. Mariah Crapo, 20 months, died in Hendricks County on August 19th after her parents took a nap after church. The Crapos, whatever you want to call them, were never criminally charged. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so the situation here is that that's what we are being told. To answer a couple of the questions that were initially asked by a couple of you, when this happened, the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, police officers from the Selma Police Department, as we've heard, Eaton, Albany, Gaston arrived on scene. And because of the nature of what happened, the Indiana State Police were asked to jump in and take over the investigation. Of course, they would do that. That's going to happen anytime there's a situation similar to this. The Delaware County Prosecutor's Office, because of the fact that this was a Delaware County Sheriff's deputy, the prosecutor's office did what, in my opinion, was the proper and correct thing to do. They recused themselves. Eric recused him and his office from making decisions or being involved in this situation. If this would have happened in Madison County, the Madison County prosecutor should have recused himself. If this happened in Randolph County, the Randolph County prosecutor should have recused himself. In all 92 counties, in all 50 states, that is the proper thing to happen, because that removes the situation of saying, oh, the police investigated themselves. The Delaware County wasn't responsible for investigating Delaware County. That should not happen. The court appointed a sheriff's deputy family member, 10-year-old child, correct, died and was alone at the time of death, and her cause of death was heat stroke, correct? Is any of this inaccurate? No. Dr. Mosta, what you're saying there is correct. That is correct. So the prosecutors that were then taking over the case, Chris Gall, I don't know him, but I do know James Luttrell. And James Luttrell is someone that is an absolute hard ass. Hard ass to all defendants, cops treated just the same. He is not someone that, in my opinion, in my experience, in my past history with him, knowing him, would take it easy on someone because they were a police officer. I was actually shocked. I kind of thought they would charge this guy with something. I don't have the law specifically in front of me. We will go through that when I have the reports. To me, it doesn't even matter. Not having the reports, I have no problem going through law and going through the IC code. I feel very confident in doing it. I have been a police officer, and I'd worked in the prosecutor's office, specifically in the Delaware County prosecutor's office. I have no problem going through the Indiana code. And I have no problem calling out cops when cops need to be called out. No problem calling out prosecutors when they need to be called out, judges when they need to be called out. I have no problem with that. Doing so without the reports, going through the cases, doesn't really matter because we don't have the factual information in front of us. We have very limited factual information from the case in front of us. All we have currently is a 911 call and a lot of emotion. That's all we have. And unfortunately, in all situations related to this, but specifically these types of situations, you have to remove as much emotion from it as you can. You have to deal with the factual information. Okay? Now, I will tell you, there have been claims made that the current wife of the deputy is, I guess last name was Winkle. There have been people that are saying, "Oh, is she connected to the Winkle family?" I don't know what her last name is. I don't know. I don't even know what her first name is. I don't know who she is. Again, I don't have any of these reports. I had heard that was the case, that her last name was Winkle. I don't have proof that she's in the Winkle family, and I don't specifically know that would carry any weight at this point. It might have at some point, but I don't think that it would have with Luttrell. I don't know Chris Gall. But I'm just putting those the information that was rumors out there. I'm going to tell you a couple of other things here really quickly. And then we're going to get into what my thoughts and my opinions are of this. So someone said, has there been a statement from the from the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, or from the sheriff or anything like that? And I told you guys that I do have a statement from the current chief deputy, who is currently a candidate running for sheriff of Delaware County. And that's Jeff Stanley. Courtney Winkle. Now, I don't know. I don't know if anybody out. I don't know if anyone, if you guys have proof that she's connected to the Winkle family specifically. Even if she is, I don't know that would mean that this is somehow, I don't know that that's, she's not the one in trouble. The deputy is her husband. It's not her child. It would be her stepchild. I don't know. Again, we're going to go off as much factual information as we have. But we're not to the point where I'm laying out if I think this guy is, if I'm happy about what happened or not happy. I'll lay that out in just 1 second. I want to get through as much factual information as I have before. I want to try not to blur the lines. So I have seen everyone making posts and saying things to and about the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, and mad at the Delaware County Sheriff's Department because of the investigation, mad at the Delaware County prosecutor because of the investigation. And I'm like, you guys, I understand being upset. I understand the raw emotion. And I'm not telling you guys not to have the raw emotion. You just, number one, it's important that we're talking about factual information. I see people who are shitting on the Muncie Police Department and saying, this go figure for the Muncie Police Department. This makes sense. He's a Muncie cop. No, he was a Muncie cop. He is not currently a Muncie cop. He had transferred to the Delaware County Sheriff's Department, and he's currently a Delaware County Sheriff's deputy still. This has nothing to do with MPD. There are lots of reasons to be mad at MPD for various reasons. Be mad at them for that. Don't paint MPD in a light because of this. Also, the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office did not make this decision. These two special prosecutors did. James Luttrell, and Chris Gall did. Okay, not Eric Hoffman or anyone in his office. So we have to use common sense when we're taking a look and being mad. I'm not saying you can't be mad, okay? But I saw a couple people who were asking for statements and who were saying things. And I had noticed that the Delaware County Sheriff's Department had not made a statement and that they had not said anything. So I reached out to the current candidate running, because the current candidate running as a Republican had specifically been named as a Republican. And I'm going to read to you specifically what made me reach out to this person. Okay. I feel like it's important that we have an understanding of what the statement is based on. Okay. So the statement that we're going to be referring to here is, give me a second here. I'm looking for it. I wonder if they took it off. Surely they wouldn't have taken it down. Okay. This was a statement posted 7 hours ago. And this person posts, serious concerns have been raised regarding the handling of a recent incident involving a member of the sheriff's office. According to multiple reports from individuals familiar with the situation, members of the administration allegedly arrived on scene and took actions that may have delayed the investigation. There are also allegations that assistance was provided to the involved officer before drug and alcohol testing could be conducted, potentially impacting the integrity of the investigation. Further concerns have been expressed regarding the involvement of current Republican candidate for sheriff, who was reportedly present and allegedly participated in actions that may have influenced the collection of facts before investigators from the Indiana State Police assumed control of the case. These allegations have led many community members to question whether a different standard was applied because of the individual involved was law enforcement officer. Critics argue that under certain similar circumstances, an ordinary citizen would likely have been arrested immediately and faced criminal charges, including neglect of a dependent, resulting in death. The public deserves a complete, independent, and transparent investigation. Accountability should apply equally to everyone, regardless of position, rank, or political affiliation. No one should be above the law, and public trust depends on ensuring that all investigations are conducted fairly and without interference. Okay, that's where we got that statement. Now, Kate, can I ask you a favor real quick? While I'm getting ready to read this, can you look up the Indiana code for neglect of a dependent resulting in death and send it to me in the group? Just if you get a chance here in a second. Okay, so that's the statement that I read, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to wait for anyone to post. I'm going to reach out to the sheriff's department. So I reached out to Chief Deputy Stanley, and I texted and said, I wanted to know if he had a statement pertaining to what people's claims were. And Chief Deputy Stanley and current Republican candidate for sheriff told me the following. He stated that he attempted to post a comment to the specific post that was made that I just read to you. However, and he sent me this later. He said it had been 3 hours plus and his comment had not been approved. He actually sent me the screenshot where he had posted, but the page that was on, Delaware County Uncensored, Delaware County Awareness Uncensored, he had posted a response to that post, but they had not approved it or would not approve it. And I was like, well, I don't know anything, about that. I'm not a moderator of that page. I don't know how that works. And so because of that, I asked him for a comment, that comment, or I said, can you give me the complete comment? Because it was just a screenshot. And this is the comment that Stanley put forward. Okay. I'm going to put it up here on the screen. And understand when he's saying, since you're making allegations, that's not directed at me or at any of you specifically. It is being made directly to the person who made that post. However, that's not been put up. Okay, for whatever reason, I don't know. Maybe they got busy. People have lives, but generally posts are put up there pretty quickly. I wish that they would put it up. It would be best to put it up than just to leave it unposted, because people are now saying like, he's not responding, but he is, and he did attempt to. So I'm going to put this out there. And listen, I got no problem calling him out. We can call him out if we need to. I just want to say I asked him and he responded right away. So I don't think he's trying to hide from this specifically. Here's this. Okay. In response to that, since you're making allegations about the Republican candidate for sheriff, which happens to be me, Jeff Stanley, I'll answer this directly. I find it troubling that you would attempt to spread false claims and make this political without first taking the time to verify the facts. One thing I will not stand for is the reckless spread of misinformation and politically motivated accusations that are not based on any facts. This unfortunate incident was called into 911 at approximately 6:44 p.m. on August 14th, 2025. When I, Jeff Stanley, was notified, Jeff Stanley, was sitting in an airport in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I arrived in Indianapolis and drove directly to the scene, arriving at approximately 12:15 a.m. on August 15th. So I want everybody to think about that for a second. The off-duty deputy, Nathan Coffey, called this in at 6:44 p.m. Okay. And it wouldn't have taken but minutes for deputies to get there and for other people to get there, for people to get on scene. Surely they would have been there within 10 minutes. Okay. So they then worked from, say, 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Stanley gets there at 12:15. So 4+ hours is really a long time on scene. And a lot of these times they'll be on scene for 12 or more hours. But by that time, they would have already had this guy. They would have had, decided if they're going to take him into custody, decided if they're going to interview him. They would have talked to the prosecutors, the deputy prosecutors. There would have already been a lot of things in play. Stanley didn't get there until 12:15 a.m. All right, that's quite a period thereafter. It is standard procedure that when a major accident involving a sheriff's deputy occurs, especially one that could potentially result in criminal charges, an outside agency is immediately requested to conduct the investigation. Sheriff Skinner immediately contacted the Indiana State Police and requested their detectives handle the investigation. Okay. When I arrived at approximately 12:15 a.m., the Indiana State Police had completed their on-scene investigation and had already made the decision not to make an arrest at that time. The Indiana State Police continued their investigation and submitted the case to the prosecutor's office. I, Jeff Stanley, nor anyone I'm aware of had any role in that decision. As an administrative officer, I would have supported whatever course of action the Indiana State Police determined. Once the case was submitted to the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office, it became their responsibility to determine how to proceed. I respect Prosecutor Eric Hoffman's decision to appoint a special prosecutor, and I think he's misspeaking there because it was the judge's responsibility and the court's responsibility to appoint. It wasn't Eric that appointed them. It was the court that appointed the special prosecutors, but it's very close to the same there. All right. And allow an independent review of the case. That decision removed any possibility of local bias influencing the outcome. I personally had no input into the prosecutor's decision, nor did I have any influence over the special prosecutor's findings. It is obvious that some people disagree with the outcome reached by the special prosecutor. However, I encourage everyone to learn the facts before spreading false statements, rumors, or political nonsense. Healthy debate is one thing. Making accusations, speculation, or outright propaganda without knowing the facts is something entirely different, and it's not something that I will sit quietly and tolerate. So that's where we are, okay, currently. So that's his statement as I currently have it. I do not have a statement from the sheriff, and they may or may not put a statement out. I don't know at this time. Let me take care of this. Give me 1 second. All right, now let me pull up what Kate has sent me. Give me 1 second, folks. I'm off screen. I can't see if any of you are saying anything to me. Okay. We're going to pull up this offense against the family, neglect of a dependent charge. Okay. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, I'm telling you what we're going to do. We are going to take this opportunity to take a real quick break. And you know what the drill is there. It won't take but a second. We will be right back, and we will continue this look, and we will look at the Indiana Code on neglect. Stand by. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to take a look here at this Indiana Code. This is the law that governs the state of Indiana, and we're going to take a look at what this has to say. Give me a second. That'll clear up. Okay, it cleared up. Let me put this up here. This is the Indiana Code. We will blow this up so you guys can see a little bit better, because I want you guys to be able to see all of this as we take a look at what's happening here. All right, this is Indiana Code, Criminal Law and Procedures. This is offenses against the family, 354614, neglect of a dependent. A person having the care of a dependent, whether assumed, voluntary, or because of legal obligation, who knowingly or intentionally places the dependent in a situation that endangers the dependent's life or health, abandons or cruelly confines the dependent, deprives the dependent of necessary support, or deprives the dependent of education as required by law, commits neglect of a dependent, a level 6 felony. However, the offense is a level 5 felony if it is committed under subsection A1, A2, A3, and results in bodily injury, or is B, committed in a location where a person is violating, dealing cocaine, the results in violation. Okay, it's not drugs. A level 3 felony if committed under subsection 1A, 1, and seriously bodily injury. Level 1 felony if it's committed under subsection A1, A2, A3 by a person of at least 18 years of age and results in death or catastrophic injury of a dependent who is less than 14 years of age, or death of or catastrophic injury of a dependent of any age who has a mental or physical defect. And a level 5 felony is committed under subsection A2 and consistent of cruel or confinement or abandonment if that deprives the dependent of necessary food, water, or sanitary facilities, consists of confinement in an area not intended for human habitation, or involves an unlawful use of handcuffs, rope, cord, tape, or similar device to physical restrain a dependent. It is a defense to prosecution based on alleged act under the section that the accused person left a dependent child who was at the time the alleged act occurred not more than 30 days of age. in a newborn safety device described as with a person who is an emergency medical service provider. Oh, I was looking for that one. When the prosecution is based solely on the alleged act of leaving a child in a newborn safety device or with the emergency medical services provider, and the alleged act did not result in bodily injury or serious bodily injury to the child, the accused person, in the illegitimate practice of the accused person's religious belief, provided treatment by spiritual means through prayer in lieu of medical care, and the accused person dependent, except for property transferred or received under court order under Section 9D of this chapter, a person who transfers or receives any property, There we go. That is the neglect of a dependent. So while we were talking about getting laws changed should make CPS better, because right now they aren't much better, and this is something that does need big changes. Absolutely, Pam, 1,000%. That place is a disaster. So the reason I wanted to talk about everything that we've talked about before I go into this is because from everything from this point, we're going to be talking about just opinion and innuendo. We're going to be talking about the possibility of rumors. And I want to have a clear line between these two things. Okay? The minute that I have these reports, we will put them out. We will talk about them, and we will cover this in a part 2 to this episode. And I will let you know that my opinions of what I'm getting ready to say from here might very well change one way or the other after we see the reports. I think I want to see those before I make a final determination. But where I am currently on this, where I currently stand on this is, I appreciate Jeff Stanley responding to me. I appreciate Jeff attempting to post that post to the people that were calling him out and asking him a question. I wish the Uncensored page would post his response, because he's now attempted to post that hours ago. And so they should post that. That's only fair. It's not fair to hold it and then make it look like he's not responding, because he is. And I have proof that he has. Jeez, Clinton. All right. Yes, I'm not a big fan of CPS. I'll be very clear there. I don't like the fact that this guy went back to work. He should not have been back to work. I don't think that he should have went back to work, specifically because he went back to work. Now, the investigation might have been over in January, and we'll have to find that out. We'll have to find that out. The investigation from the state police might have been over in January, but then they gave it to the prosecutor's office, and the prosecutor's office has taken, this long to determine, meaning James Luttrell and Chris Gall, not the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office, but the special prosecutors, have taken the last 5 months to make a determination. Coffee was on paid leave. I think that was a mistake of the Delaware County Sheriff's Department. I think they should have left him off, because I will tell you that's probably the number one thing that has bothered people from this that I've been hearing from, because I had people that started reaching out to me like the day that he was put back on the roster and the day that he was back working. I had people contacting me and being like, this is not right. He shouldn't be out here, potentially going to cases where, children are involved. He shouldn't be going out here. I can only think of what would have happened if they would have put him back on duty. And all this time he's been answering calls for service, writing up police reports, with which he might have to testify in. And then they had determined to charge him today. And they released that they were in fact charging him. Some people might say, well, wait a minute. Maybe all this time they knew they weren't going to charge him. That's what causes people Okay? That's what causes people to question, well, did they know all of this time that he wasn't going to be charged? Here's the thing that has to happen. In a world that we live in, where we have police officers that pull people over and say, I saw you texting with a phone in your right hand, and the girl holds up a nub and says, I don't have a right hand, you jackass. And that officer doesn't say, my bad, I must be going mental. Sorry, ma'am, have a good day. And they laugh about it, but he says, no, I don't care that you don't have a hand. I saw it, and by God, I'm giving you a ticket. Because we live in that world, because we live in a world where the police are locking up a 22-year-old YouTuber trying to get back Legos for a family, and they're saying, we think that you have heroin on you, and they're violating his rights, and chaos is happening. Because we live in a world where we are seeing more and more and more and more public servants, first responders, firemen, violating POs, raping their wives, domestic violencing their wives, beating people up, drinking and driving, selling cocaine, doing drugs, doing all of this shit. And we live in a world where more and more and more of this is ending up on camera, and people are calling this out. They have got to do literally everything they possibly can to do everything to remove any impossibility of impropriety and to remove all doubt, any doubt possible. I think the fact that this man was brought back to work 5+ some months before the decision was made was a bad decision. It was a piss poor decision. And I know the sheriff's department is going to say, well, we were short on men, we were this, that. That's something you got to deal with. Shit happens. Shit happens. Don't bring this man back to work before we know if he's going to be charged for some kind of neglect causing death. Now, I do not have the report. I do not have the reports. I have requested the reports because the investigation is over. I will have the reports. We will get the reports, and I will give them over and share them all with you. We will go through as much body camera footage as we possibly can. I will blur out any bad things, and we won't, this is not going to be a creep show, but we'll deal with what we got to deal with. Okay. I will tell you where I am at right now. It's kind of like an officer getting an OWI. If you're working at Bilbrey Mold and Dye, some factory over here that I own in my mind, and you get an OWI, you don't lose your job. Maybe they know, maybe they don't know. You go back to work and you do what you do. It is what it is. If you work at Bilbrey Dye or Acme Dye, Acme Tool and Dye, and you go home and you leave your kid in a car and it was a total accident and it wasn't your fault and you're not arrested, you don't lose your job. Okay? Now, being a law enforcement officer is different than working at Bilbrey or Acme Tool and Dye. And it's a weird spot because in some aspects I say, did you know the court case was happening today? So it wasn't a court case specifically. There is no real court case. I had heard that a decision in this was coming. Yes, I had heard that last week. I had heard that decision was coming down the pike, but I did not know exactly when. On one hand, being a police officer is just a job, and we want to tell these police officers that are crazed and out of control, yo, bro, calm down. It's just a job. You know, just because you're wearing that badge, you're not better than me. You're just a human. What gives you the right? We say that all the time. You're not better than me. Why do you get to put me in handcuffs? Why do you get to judge me? It's just a job, bro. You're no different than the man working at McDonald's. We say that all the time. At the same time, we want to say, but they have to be upheld higher than anybody else. And let me tell you, in my mind, both of those things are right. As someone who was a cop, as someone who was a police officer, I will tell you, I think both of those things. I don't know how they jive. I can't get them to jive, but they're both true. It was a calling, it was a passion, and it was much more than a job. While at the same time, it was just a job. Okay? So that's where I feel. Put that in one box. Cops should not get special treatment. Cops are not better than us. They should not get to say, well, I've got the privilege that if I do something wrong, if I do something bad, because listen, just because you do something bad, just because you didn't mean to, doesn't mean it's okay. If you're speeding because you want to get home and you lose control and you wreck and kill somebody, well, you didn't mean to kill somebody, but you were speeding. So should you be in trouble? Should a terrible accident, just an accident, how many times do we all speed? Well, that one time that you're speeding, if you wreck and kill somebody, should that ruin the rest of your life? Maybe so. I don't know. Should you be punished and deal with the punishment and come out the other side? Maybe that's the case. Does this man deserve to be punished and lose everything? I don't know. Maybe he deserved to something. Maybe he deserved to be charged like any of the rest of us and deserved to go to court and have his day in court. And maybe he's charged with misdemeanors. Maybe it doesn't cost him his job. Maybe it does. Shit happens. Here's the other thing. My dad, I famously have said this for a long time. My dad taught me, my dad was like a Buddhist monk or like a Zen master living in like today's times. And it was very, very, very strange, because my dad had all of these like sayings and shit. Very, very interesting. It's kind of like that book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. My dad was like a Zen master, but was weird. Anyways, one of the things my dad would always say is like, there's two types of problems. I just told this to my grandparents the other day. There's two types of problems in the world. Big problems and small problems. And big problems are the death of a loved one or a close friend or yourself. And little problems are everything else. And you got to deal with both problems. You got to deal with big problems and you got to deal with small problems. But the way that you approach them and the way that you let them affect your life has to be different. You approach big problems as big problems. You approach it like, oh my God, someone in my family died. One of my friends died. And, you know, if it's you, then it's fixed. You don't got to worry about it. But short of a big problem in your life, everything else you deal with as a little problem. And, you know, they might be big and bad, but you got to deal with it in the way that it is a little problem. And this is a big problem. This was a big problem. Big problem for this deputy. Big problem for his new wife. God awful for his ex-wife. Big problem for the sheriff's department. Big problem for police in this area because, you know, they're going to deal with the outcome either way. Because this is the death of an individual and it's horrible. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, wouldn't he have known that the 10-year-old wasn't in his house? Here's the thing. They are saying, and I don't have the police reports, so we'll have to read and we'll have to wait and we'll have to see interviews and things like this. We'll have to wait and see. They're saying she couldn't move and she was nonverbal. So he gets home, she's nonverbal. Look, back when I had stepkids that I was responsible for, we would go to the store, and I can think about going to the store when Avery was always like big enough, but Cooper, when I first came in their lives, Cooper was in a car seat and would be like trapped in like a car. He was a baby. When I was in Cooper's life, he was a baby. He's like 17 now. It's wild. But I can remember going to the store, going to Walmart, snowing, you know, and we go to the store and we would have groceries and the kids and everything, and we'd leave the car running and take the food in, leave the kid in the car, and then come back for the kid. Like Cooper would be sleeping in the back. You're like not wanting to wake him because you want to get him in and keep him sleeping. So we would run stuff in, and we'd each be running something in. You know, the husband and wife's running stuff in. And I think she's got Cooper. She thinks I've got Cooper. And be like, wait, where's, you know, now we never left our kid in the car. Thank God, you know, there before the grace of God go I. We never left the kids in the car. But I could see a world in which something like that could happen. So he gets home and he's carrying stuff in. He's got the air conditioning on in the car because it's cold. It's hot. So he's got the air conditioning on. And he's carrying his stuff in. And the other baby starts fussing. And he's trying to get her down. And in his mind, maybe he thinks the 10-year-old's in and asleep in her room. So I'm going to lay down with the kid and I'm going to get the kid to sleep, not intending to go to sleep with her, not intending to lay in bed and take a nap, but he's just going to get her down. And you're doing that. And we've all fallen asleep, not intending to. And you fall asleep. And then he didn't wake up and say, oh God, where's the kid? Because he thinks the kid's in the house. He thinks the kid is in his car. He says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get my bow and practice some bow shots. And he goes out and he sees the kids in the car. The reason he maybe lay down and thought it's okay because he thought she was asleep in the room. And it's not like she's going to be running around or making a bunch of noise because she's not doing that. I'm just telling everybody, because Admiral said earlier, like, well, why wouldn't he have known that the kid wasn't in the house or whatever? I'm just trying to think. I'm not giving him an excuse. I am not adding to the excuse. I'm trying to think, if I was in that situation. I never left a kid in the car. I couldn't do it. I've got this dog I love, my little dog. I would never do that. Brenda, that's absolutely right. That's why the reports are going to have to be very important. The other thing Admiral said is the public perception that this officer is not being dealt with or handled properly. That's a bad situation. I am of the opinion now that I feel that the special prosecutors, I don't have the reports. So remember, this could change. Currently, without seeing the reports, I am of the opinion that the special prosecutors screwed this one up. He should have been charged with something. Do I think that this needed to cost him his job? I don't know if I'm there yet or not. Do I think that he should have been back to work in January? Hell no. Do I think he should have been working today? Absolutely not. I do not think that. He could be on the road right now as we speak. Do I think that he should be on the road as we speak? Absolutely not. That is such a bad look. That is such a bad look. And no, there is no excuse. You are right, Troy Story. You are 1,000%. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. 1,000% no excuse. It's what happens after. Okay, we can sit here and say there's no excuse all night. You know what happened? A 10-year-old girl died. I'm not dinging him because of how he sounded on the 911 call. I'm dinging him because a 10-year-old girl died. Not just a 10-year-old girl, his 10-year-old daughter. God, what a tragedy. Tragedy for... The other aspect is... how can he ever be punished in more than what he'll be doing in his mind? And I'm not saying, maybe he doesn't care, maybe he does. I don't know. I don't know this guy. I don't know. Oh yeah, both of those, Admiral. That is. I get your thought there, and Stumblefoot, I get your thought there, and Hannah Carnes, absolutely understand your point. I'm looking at this from all angles. I'm just saying, does this meet this? Does he get this? What I can tell you without having seen the report, and it's I'm sorry I got to be this way. I'm sorry I'm this way. But I have to see the report before I make final decisions in so many situations in this case. I will tell you, he should not be at work right now. He just simply shouldn't be at work. That is oversight. And I am hoping Hannah, I disagree with you there. I'm not banging this guy for the 911 call. I get it. Look, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm only talking about this now, right at this moment, because I know my grandparents are gone. I talked about it a little bit up front when I knew they were here, but I was careful. I fully understand there is a difference. I fully understand there being a difference of walking in and finding my dad deceased is different than walking in and finding your 10-year-old child is gone. There is a difference. We don't want our parents to die, but we understand the natural order of things are they're going to die before we do. That's how it should be. Okay? That being said, that was 10 years ago. I was 10 years younger than I am now. I wasn't ready for my dad to die at that time. He shouldn't have died at that time. He should still be alive. He should have 45, 50 more years of life. Walking in, and it wasn't like my dad was not supposed to die at that time. He had cancer and he was near the end, but I wasn't prepared for him to die. When I walked in and saw that, I walked in, my 16-year-old brother was in the house. My 16-year-old brother was in bed. It was summertime. It was in the early morning. He was asleep. Thank God I got to the house before my brother woke up and found him. I just cannot think of what that would be like. A lot of people know the story. I've talked about it on here before. It's been a while, but we're close to the anniversary, so I guess it's as good a time as any. But when I got to the house and the door was locked, I felt that was kind of odd because normally my dad would get up and lock the door. I got to the house and I tried to go in and I couldn't. And so I went and knocked on my brother's window so he would open the door and get up out of bed without having to have my dad get out of bed. And I heard Jacob lumbering through the house. And all of a sudden I heard Jacob was like hurrying. And Jacob came through and he said, "Hey, help me. Dad fell." He thought Dad had fell. I don't think he knew. And I looked in instantly and I knew that, hey, good night, Paul. I knew that my dad was gone. And so the first thing I did is I wanted to get Jacob out of the house and I wanted Jacob not to be seeing that. So I don't instantly go into grieving, son, oh my God, my dad's dead. I start thinking about other things. I pull Jacob out of the house and I tell him to go stand over there out of sight of the window. And I go in and I take my dad's pulse and I could tell Dad had been down for a while. Now listen to me. I could tell Dad, listen to how I'm talking about this. And how I'm talking about this at that time is how I was going through it at the time. I reached down, I take my dad's pulse. I took it in two locations. I took it in his neck. I took it in his arm. And I could tell that I could tell that he had been down for a while. And I go and I don't call 911 because there was no point in calling emergency. I called non-emergency and I calmly say, "Hey, I walked in, I found my dad deceased. He's in the floor. You need to send this. Tell him not to call 911 or tell him not to send lights and sirens. There's no need to rush. There's nothing they can do. He's late stage cancer patient. That's the situation. That's where we are." And so then I went outside and I tell Jacob and we go through that thing. And that's when I lose it. And I have like the cry, whatever. I do all of that. And then I don't want him to be there when they come to get Dad. So I send him to my grandparents. Jacob gets on the car and gets in the car and leaves. And then instantly I go back into like, okay, I've had my cry. I can do this more later, but I need to go back into like, there's shit to be done mode. And so that they get there. Then all of a sudden I think, oh my God, someone's got to call and tell my grandparents. Because I didn't want knowing Jacob, I was like, he would just walk in and not say anything and be there. And I'm thinking like, oh my God. So then I had to call my grandparents and that's not fun. But I did all of that and explain all of that. But I can understand the compartmentalization, and I don't bang him for that. That's right. See, a lot of people don't realize that. Sometimes even people who aren't trained, sometimes in instances like that, you can do one of two things. You can freak out or you can get really calm. So the autopsy was would have been performed like very early thereafter, the day or two after. And this is a bad thing. And the other thing that there has to be and that we have to understand is sometimes, I'll put it to you this way, even if they would have came and they would have charged this guy, he gets fired, he's charged, he's convicted, and everything goes well. We get to the end of that, and nothing is better. That doesn't make anything better. We get to the situation, and it's still a very horrible situation that maybe we have a few more answers to. Maybe we can sleep better at night knowing, yeah, we got that copper, we got that pig, we got him. He got what was coming to him. But that does not going to make me feel better. The situation's still a horrible situation. And the question becomes like, that's why faith has, I think it's takes a lot of strength to be an atheist. To think, man, just terrible shit happens and this little girl dies because that's just what happens. I think that takes a lot of strength. That's strength I don't have. So I have to be one of the dumb, non-strong ones that I have to rely on faith and that there's a bigger plan here. You people can laugh at me or make fun of me all they want for that, but I'm just not that strong. I'm not strong enough to say, well, it was just, it is what it is. And no matter how many questions or no matter how many times we punish this guy, at the end of the day, the answer still is the little girl died and nothing brings that back. Nothing fixes that. Everyone that says, well, I know a cop that, left his dog in his car and he got charged. And I know this and I know that. I will tell you, is there ever a situation? Is there ever a situation? Remove this being a cop. Is there any situation on which something could occur where a parent could not on purpose have their kid in a car and that kid freeze to death in the cold or have, get too hot in the summer? Is there any incidents where that can happen? Or because I tell you what, Indiana doesn't charge people as nearly as much as what people think for situations like this. There are a lot. I mean, this doesn't happen, thank God, a lot in Indiana, but there are not many cases where anyone is charged in Indiana with this. It tends to happen less than people think. They're actually charged less in Indiana for this. Now, there are definitely situations where I could see something happening where, so say, for example, if someone was going, to go get drugs and they went inside the trap house and they left their kid outside for 5 hours because they're getting stoned in the trap house, or they're drunk, or they're, they're driving home and they get stoned and they leave the kid. Absolutely, I can see that. I'm saying, is there any situation ever where this man, because saying he's a cop, to me, this had nothing to do with his copness. It didn't have anything to do with his law enforcement training. Leaving the little girl in the car, he did that off duty. This specifically, I mean, you know, the people want him held accountable because he was a cop and because this happened. But this didn't happen because he was a cop. So my question is, remove the cop from a situation. Just say it's this man and this daughter. Is there a situation where we could say, I don't like it and I don't want it to happen and it's god awful, but I get why it happened? So is there a way or a reason? I mean, I'm asking you guys. I'm interested to hear. Is there a reason? There was a 3-year-old girl near Greenville that died on a golf cart last year. The parents were charged for even though they weren't there and had left her in the care of someone else. I don't know, Bocephus. That's why I really want the report, because they just keep saying, and everywhere keeps saying it's a syndrome. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what her specific illness was. I would like to know that. As shockproof, there's no question. That's 100. That's 100% correct. That's not even a question. That is 100% the truth. I was surprised at how many aren't charged when I started diving into cases like this, and there aren't enough facts presented yet to show more than a glimmer of what the prosecutor was thinking. I remember they had posted about it, but I can't remember now what it was. I'll have to look into that, K-Mama. That's interesting. Here's where I am with this. Really, and it's where I'm going to stay until I get the report or until I get more information. This is a situation where, and people are going to be mad at me about this, that him being a cop, in my opinion, does not have anything to do with this. Maybe him being a cop helped him get off charges. Maybe there is truth to that. I'm not saying there is or isn't. Maybe it was a fact here. But him being a cop or not being a cop had nothing to do with why that little girl died. Okay? So I need the facts before I can make any more determinations. I am not happy with the fact that he went back to work. He should not have went back to work. That's a problem. I don't know how you say that, Stumblefoot. I'm going to look that up because I can't recall. I don't know how many times that's happened here. That's exactly right, Admiral. That's exactly right. That's why the reports matter, and I'm going to look into this. I'm also going to look into how many cases there have been in Delaware County. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look in Delaware County. I'm going to look in Madison County. I'm going to look in Randolph County. I'm going to look in Henry County. I'll look in like this, maybe the 5th district. I'll look and see how many times that's happened, because I know Luttrell is a prosecutor up in Marion, in Grant County. I will look into this and see if I can find that out. I just got a message from someone that's given me a lot of information, and I don't want to. This is definitely going to be something that we're going to approach again. I'm looking into this and seeing here. I will keep you guys posted, but I need to do some more things before I make much more of a decision in this. I'll keep you guys posted. As of right now, I don't think he should have went back to work in January. I think that was a screw up. Stanley did answer the question that was put out, but I don't know that they've still let him answer. As of, this is the last thing, we're getting ready to wrap this up. As of right now, I still don't think they have allowed him to allowed his answer to go through. Let me see. I think if that's the case, I don't like that. I don't know why they wouldn't have yet. Let's see, where's it at? Okay, right here we are. Let me see. 116. No, it looks like his statement has not went through yet. I don't like that. I wish that they would let the statement go through. Well, we played it here. It is what it is. And I don't know anything about. Someone's asking me if the stepmom was there, if his wife was there. I don't know if she was there or not. We're going to have to look and see all of that information, and I need the factual information before I make a final determination. I'm not saying that he should get off on this. I'm not saying he shouldn't be charged. I'm saying I need to see that information. And if we get it and the case fits what the crimes have been, and if the special prosecutors, did the whole thin blue line thing, I'll call them out, and that'll be a big thing. I am not happy with this, not knowing. And so we need to have that information to know to make that final ruling. Bo Cephas, no, there are no, because there's no case. There's nothing here. That's the reason my request for these documents will be big. The minute that I get these documents, I will start making part 2 of the show. And they're telling me that they will complete my request within 90 days. So we've got 90 or less days, 90 days from today. Will be Monday, September 7th. So Monday, September 7th, 2026, or sooner, we'll have a part 2 on this. And I will let you guys know. Now, we could have a part 2 at some point between, and maybe that would be part 3. But the next part in this story will be, or excuse me, the next part in the story could come sooner. But the day that we have the records will be a follow-up to this story, and I'll keep you guys posted. And we'll let you guys know. Well, they have to give me everything because the case is undone. So I will fight them, and I have a long history of fighting for records. So I hope they do the right thing. The state police has always done a pretty good job of doing what they did. Now that's it. Okay. Now, all right. That's a good one. I do know that situation in Daleville. I'll have to look back and see. I think, was there not some drugs related to that? Was there not some drugs related with it? I'll look back on that one and see. I'll have to look at. I do. So that's one. So that's there you go. Good Stumblefoot. I will look that up and we'll see. And we will compare that to this, and I will look up the other situations as well. All right. I appreciate you guys. We've had a good discussion. I love every one of you. I like some of you I might not. I don't know. I attempt to love every one of you, but who knows? I appreciate all of the comments. They were all great comments, all good debate. This is something that we need to do. I do thank Stanley for giving me the statement. He's not out of the hot seat yet, but we will see what comes of this. And I will provide the updates as we get information. You guys take care. God bless. Hey, before you run, if you haven't already, make sure that you smash that like button, subscribe to the show if you haven't already, do all of that stuff. It's for free. If you have information that you would like to get to me, You can email the show down here at either KH Bilbrey or TPS Program. You can also message me over here, do all of that stuff. And my phone number's there. I would ask that you text before you call, just because I get inundated with calls and stuff. So text me, but you can get a hold of me, and we will get back with you. So I appreciate you guys. We will see you next time, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more lighter show tomorrow. That would be good. You guys take care. God bless. Good night, and we will see you.